It's time to take you through this week in Nicholls Athletics as we bring you the best of Colonel sports from Nicholls State University. This week in Nicholls Athletics is presented by State Farm Insurance. Contact your local State Farm agent today and get to a better state with State Farm Insurance.
Thanks for joining us this morning for This Week in Nicholls Athletics, presented by State Farm Insurance. I'm your host, Mike Wagenheim. Coming up in today's show, we've got a very special guest, former Nicholls men's basketball head coach, the legendary Rickey Broussard. First, let's take a look at what the current hoops teams were up to this past week. In their final home game of the calendar year, the Colonel men played host to Dillard last Friday and dominated the Blue Devils in every facet of the game. Early action, Nicholls in transition. They work it around the outside to Lachlan Prest, who lines up for three. Prest was 4-4 from downtown. Nicholls up 8, 4 minutes in, looking to penetrate, but Dillard packs the lane, so Chris Talkington hits the bonus ball from the corner. Seatalk with 15 points in 14 minutes of action. Dillard's Myron McGowan able to keep this play alive, and Lance Theard drains it from behind the arc. Theard was the only Blue Devil in double figures. He scored 16. Colonels attack the basket. Shane Reillier drives, gives back to Seatalk. He can't finish, but Trevon Lewis out of Ellender High there to clean it up. Nicholls leads 20-7 with 13:30 to go in the half. Colonels feed the post here. Lewis dishing to a cutting Jeremy Smith, who throws it down. Nicholls up by 19. Smith with his first career double-double. New Orleans product showing off his mid-range game here. A jab step or two, and he nails a 14-footer. Nicholls shot 62% from the field in the first half. Some tough defense here. Sterling Bailey comes up with the loose ball ahead to Brian Hammond, who unselfishly dishes to Lewis. The Colonels with 18 assists on the night. The lead is at 22. Colonels looking to pass first. The shot clock running down. Hammond with the drive and the kick to Lewis. Nicholls up 49-17 at halftime. Final 8 minutes now. Colonels on the perimeter, and Dillard dares Talkington to fire it up. Nicholls canned 9 threes in the game. Richard Johns has it knocked away at midcourt by Sam McBeat. Hammond capitalizes on the other end. The Colonels forced 24 turnovers. Hammond scored a dozen and was one of 6 Colonels in double figures. McBeat gets the ball up top, and then Dillard loses track of him in the paint. Prest finds him, though. McBeat scored 11. Nicholls up by 47 with 6 minutes left, and J.P. Piper gets the subs in. Bailey with the ball on the wing, drives through the paint and finishes at the basket, and the Colonels close it out. Here is Zachary West. Scoops it up in the corner and dishes to Bryson Triggs for his first hoop of the season. The Colonels win it going away, 92-48 the final score. Well, the Colonels would face a much stiffer challenge this past Monday. Certainly their tallest order of the year, a matchup with the 5th-ranked North Carolina Tar Heels in Chapel Hill. Nicholls made the trip to the Dean Smith Center 4 years ago when UNC was ranked #1 in the nation. That night, the Colonels gave the Heels fits, knocking down 14 threes, giving the favorites a run for their money. Unfortunately, nothing but frustration here for this one for the Colonels. They just didn't have the firepower in this one, as Brian Hammond drives the lane and able to score the basketball here. UNC coming in with a mark of 9-2. They hadn't lost a non-conference home game in the last 52 opportunities. Even when the Colonels were able to get on the board here, UNC just lightning quick in transition, able to score at will for most of this one. As they run the floor here, Kendrick Marshall with the dish to Desmond Hubert, and he slams it through for the finish. Again, the Colonels just didn't have the size to compete with UNC in this one. The front court combination for North Carolina, they got 2 players at 6'8", one at 7 feet tall, and the Colonels didn't have a player over 6'7" on the floor. Offensive rebound after offensive rebound, 31 of them on the night for the Tar Heels, leading to 38 points off of those boards. Reggie Bullock with the finish there. Chris Talkington injured late first half. That certainly didn't help matters. Again, the Tar Heels just too much to deal with for the Colonels in this one, as Nicholls falls by a final of 99-49. When we come back here on This Week in Nicholls Athletics, we're going to take a look at what the women's basketball team is up to. A very successful run lately for Doobie Plaisance and company. We'll be back with more coming up in just a moment. You're listening to This Week in Nicholls Athletics, presented by State Farm Insurance.
There goes Dwayne's car. There goes Dwayne's house. And there goes Dwayne.
Man, that thing does not like Dwayne.
State Farm's got you covered. In Lockport, call James Matassa. And in Homa, call Renee Carricker.
Get to a better state.
We're back here with you on This Week in Nicholls Athletics, presented by State Farm Insurance. We took a look at what the men's team has done over the past week. They've got a while now until their next game. They'll take on Texas San Antonio on the road coming up on January the 4th to begin Southland Conference play. We turn our attention now to the Colonel women's basketball team, and they're going into the holiday break on a high note. Winners of four of their last 5 games now. Nicholls stands at 6-5 on the year. The Colonels recently pulled out a thriller against a quality North Texas squad that owns wins over Oregon State and Alabama this year. Let's take it back to Tuesday afternoon at Stouffer Gym. Colonels got off to a blazing start in this one, making 6 of their first 7 shots. Jenny Nash gives it up to Summer Leslie for the jumper. She was on her way to a 21-point performance. In transition, KK Babin penetrates baseline, hands off to Alicia Allen for the layup. It's 10-0 Nicholls. Timeout, Mean Green. 5 minutes in, UNT denying Nash's entry pass to Jasmine Hoskins. That's okay. Babin hits from about 25 feet out. The Colonels are up 17-0. At the 14-20 mark, Alicia Hankins finally ends a drought, shaking off Leslie for the hoop. It was Hankins' only bucket of the day, but it sparked a rally. Tamara Toru from just inside the arc here gets the friendly bounce. She led North Texas with 20 points. Final 5 minutes of the half. Cassandra Foreman clears a miss. The outlet to Laura McCoy for the finish and the foul, and the Colonel lead is down to 9. Seconds later, Babin, not afraid to fire it up. She never is. From way outside, it looks short, but it flips up off the rim and in. Babin played every minute of this one. Nicholls back up a dozen. UNT, though, goes on an 8-0 run to end the half. The strong penetration move by Brittany Hudson, and it's 28-24 Nicholls at the break. Inside the last 12 minutes, the lead is just a bucket when Leslie kicks it to Babin, who finds Nash up top for the clean look. Colonels are up 5. But North Texas takes their first lead of the game with 9:28 to go. The Colonels not allowing anything in the low post, so Toru pops out for the 3, and it's 48-46 Mean Green. 2 minutes later, the Colonels break the full court press. Leslie stops and pops, and Nicholls reclaims the advantage at 51-50. 6.5 minutes left now. Stanley gets the ball in the post, passes out, they re-enter, and Stanley with a hook shot, 52-51 North Texas. With the shot clock running down now, Leslie misses the runner, and McCoy able to take the rebound up the floor, but she mishandles it in the backcourt. Leslie with the steal, Nash is trailing the play, and she would connect with a step-back 3. Nicholls up 54-52. Final 2 minutes, Colonels are up 1. Babin on the wing, over to Allen. Toru goes for the steal and gets burned. Allen knocks it down, 58-55 Nicholls. A Toru free throw made it a 2-point affair. 50 seconds left. The pass behind Leslie. Hudson takes it away, finishes with a tough shot. We're going to overtime, tied at 58. A minute and a half left in the extra session, 62 apiece. Nash on the wing penetrates, finds Allen for the lay-in. A KK Babin free throw put the Colonels up by 3. Then it's Hudson with a quick first step and finish. Timeout with 47 seconds remaining now. Nicholls leads by 1. Last 10 seconds, Colonels looking for a stop. McCoy trying to find something inside. There's nothing there. She drives the ball on Babin, and the shot comes up short. Holly Martin boards it. Leslie is fouled in the backcourt with 2 seconds left on the clock. Summer Leslie at the line here for a pair. The senior leader calmly handles the pressure. Switching the first one through, Nicholls up by 2. Leslie cold as ice. She hits them both. A North Texas heave falls well short, and Nicholls is a 67-64 winner in overtime. The Colonel women now get a week off. They're back in action on December the 30th here in Thibodaux, going for their 5th consecutive win. They'll host Suno at 6:30 that night. A great job by Doobie Plaisance and company. Well, now we're joined here by our special guest tonight, Rickey Broussard, the ex-head coach here of the Nicholls men's basketball team. 12 seasons, 3 times the Southland Conference Coach of the Year. It's a pleasure to have you on with us.
Thanks for having me on, Mike.
You've kept up with the program through all this time. What are your impressions right now of the Nicholls men's team?
I think JP has the program going in the right direction. There's several things that you have to do to be a good basketball team, a championship basketball team. One, I think they play very fundamental basketball. They play hard, and they play together. So those are three very good qualities to have. I think they definitely have that. Of course, when you're going against North Carolina, that size just kind of wore them out. But I think once they get into the conference, they'll play comparable people of their size. I think they're going to be in contention this year.
Colonel's trying to fight the injury bug right now. And I know you've dealt with that as a coach as well. What kind of advice do you give to Coach Piper?
Well, that's why you have to play people early in the year and get them some experience, because at some point in time you're going to need a good bench, a good strong bench. I was fortunate really to have a very solid bench in our championship teams, and we even had a young man named Lindsey Green that we touted as the best sixth man in college basketball. So if you can come up with that kind of pride coming off the bench, a potential starter, yet he accepts that role as that kind of player. So I think that can be a key element as well.
It can be tough to win here at Nicholls. You were able to do it. 1995 NCAA tournament, 1998 NCAA tournament. What were your keys for success here?
Well, without question, it's all about recruiting. I mean, I don't think I was a different coach in the years that I won, 9 games as when we won 19 or whatever. But it's about recruiting. You have to have good players, and you have to fill in the voids that you may have the year before. And I think JP's done a good job of that. He's getting himself more athletic now, whereas he had good outside shooting and they could score. Now he seems to be more athletic. So I think that's going to be a key as well. But there's no question. I used to have a sign on my door. I can still picture it. In fact, it said, "Recruit daily or perish." Yeah, so.
A pretty simple mantra.
That's right.
Absolutely. So how has the game evolved from when you were leading the program to what JP faces now? Right.
Well, I think, the players are better, bigger. I do think that we were very athletic teams. Now, I wouldn't sacrifice anything for athleticism. That was the number one thing I looked for. Quickness was number 2. And I wanted every player on the team to be able to shoot the basketball. So when I went out in recruiting, I tried to get good shooters. Not that it always happened that way, but I think that if you look for good shooters that can shoot at every position, and I do like the makeup of his team, and I will say this too. To succeed here at Nicholls State, I think it takes someone who knows Louisiana. You're not going to go out and recruit national players. You're not going to get players from all over the country. So if you establish and build relationships, which JP has done over his high school career, I think he was president of the Louisiana Coaches Association. So in building those relationships with those high school coaches, and you can go into St. Aug, for example, and get a player, or John Ehret, these schools that continually have good players, that's what it's going to take.
Oh, we've seen the rewards of that now with Trevon Lewis, exciting freshman out of Ellender High in Houma. Shane Rillier right down the road at Brother Martin in New Orleans. So those connections are certainly starting to pay off.
Absolutely, yes. You can tell, and the quickness factors, it's evident. They, as I said, they didn't take a back. I wouldn't be disheartened at all, because I actually was at the North Carolina game, just because they're just so big. But as far as playing the game the right way and playing hard, blocking out and all that, they fundamentally did the right things.
Unfortunately, you can fundamentally do the right things sometimes. It just doesn't make a difference.
Just reach right over you, yeah.
We were talking about this the other day, just with the business that college basketball has become, and such a bigger business than when it was when you were coaching. How has that changed?
Yeah, there's no question. Things have changed, both from the business standpoint. I mean, we toured Duke University and North Carolina, and it's a matter really of keeping up with the Joneses. If Duke goes out and builds this museum, which was unbelievable, well, you better believe the next year, guess what North Carolina did? They built their basketball museum. So, it's you have to do things that, from a recruiting standpoint, won't put you at a disadvantage.
We have a great history. I think the fans do here for Nicholls for the history of this athletic program, and specifically the men's basketball program and the success it saw during your tenure here. Everybody always likes to take a trip down memory lane, and I've heard so many stories since I started working here. What are some of your great memories of your time here?
Well, taking a program that had, never been in Division I. They had been in basketball playoffs before, but in terms of a Division I team, and was very special. And but to take from where we were to getting players to the point that you could win a championship, and convincingly win too. We had a team that had a power rating of 50 in the nation. That's pretty strong for where we were. So it was a lot of pride involved in it. But the thing that people talk to me the most about it when they see me is they say, Coach, you remember the French fries? we had a special going on with McDonald's. They would give us, if we scored over 100 points, there was free fries. Mm-hmm. And so I think we scored 100 points 7 times. I think McDonald's might have lost some money on that deal. But over 7 times during the season, we scored over 100 points. And I know a lot of people remember that. Of course, they remember the trips up to Shreveport. That's where the conference tournaments were held back then, and we had caravans of people going up there. I think I also remember where we had to bring in portable bleachers on the end lines to accommodate the fans when we won those big runs where we were winning a lot of games, and so those were special days. The
1995 season, you nearly ran the table in the Southland Conference that year, yet you had a lot of adversity to overcome that season. Tell us a little bit about that and how you're able to overcome it.
Yeah, we lost the last game of the year, and in retrospect, Mike, I think it really helped us because we were preparing for the conference tournament. It's hard to run the table. No, in fact, I don't think a team has ever done it in the Southland Conference. So it was a very difficult thing to do. We wanted to do it, but I think it really re-energized us and made us focus better. And of course, in the conference tournament, we're down 8 points with I think it was maybe a minute 20 seconds to go in the game, and we came back and beat a good Stephen F. Austin team. And then of course in the championship game we beat a Northeast Louisiana team that had upset us in the last game of the year. But a similar thing happened with the '98 team. We were running the table in that year too, and we lost again the last game of the year against the same opponent, Northeast. Came back in the tournament and won the tournament. The thing I remember the most about that particular tournament was that we were down 20 points with, well, it might have been 19 points with about 9 minutes to go in the game, and we came back from that large deficit and won the game by 3 points. But we needed we put a good run at the end. We pressed. We had a press called the 55 press, and that was our run and jump defense. And of course, when I lost my finger, everybody was saying, "Well, what are you going to do with the press next year? You're not going to be able to run 55."
It's one of the greatest stories I've ever heard. That was actually pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
You've led quite an interesting life, both in the coaching ranks and now as a representative for State Farm Insurance. And it's interesting. You say the philosophy is recruit daily or perish. Your job now involves recruiting. You're actually an agency recruiter for State Farm. Right. How has your, I guess, success in coaching and recruiting and coaching carried over now into your current profession?
Well, Mike, when you coach your entire career and you don't really know that you can do anything else, so it's kind of scary to step out of your skin, so to speak. But the carryover values that I had in recruiting and the work ethic and the just going out every day meeting people, it really came as a natural thing for me. It seems to me that job was meant for me, and I truly enjoy it. It's been a blessing to me. But you can find out that there's other things you can do and do them well, in fact.
A lot of coaches are afraid to make that jump, but it can be successful if you find the right thing for you.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk more about State Farm. We'll talk more Nicholls basketball. We've got a lot more coming up on the other side of this break. Stay with us. This is This Week in Nicholls Athletics, presented by State Farm Insurance.
There There goes Dwayne's car. There goes Dwayne's house. And there goes Dwayne.
Man, that thing does not like Dwayne.
State Farm's got you covered.
In Thibodaux, call Doug Robichaux. And in Luling, call Keith Davis.
Get to a better state.
Back here with you on This Week in Nicholls Athletics, presented by State Farm Insurance. We'll be rejoined by former head coach of the Colonels, Rickey Broussard, here in just a moment. I would be remiss if I did not mention our two terrific reporters here and directors and producers and everything else, Angela Boudreau and Julie Baudouin, doing their final show with us today. They're moving on to bigger and better things. Done a terrific job all semester long. We appreciate their help, and we wish them the best in the future as well. Coach Broussard, we appreciate you taking the time today. We talked a little bit about your current life and your current profession with State Farm Insurance. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing nowadays with them.
Okay, I'm a State Farm agency recruiter. My primary responsibility is Louisiana, but I'm in the Central Zone, which is comprised of 5 states: Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So I'm called to do some recruiting in each of those states from time to time. I know I'll be spending a lot of time in Little Rock, Arkansas, for example. Just came back from Kansas City, and we have 6 openings right now in the state of Louisiana. So I'm actually a very busy time of the year for me right now.
You said it, it's all about recruiting and finding the right people to make the team successful. How do you go about finding the right people now?
It's nothing more than building relationships, going to speak to sources of influence in a community, developing that relationship, picking up the phone and calling and say, hey, I have an opening. Do you know anybody that I could go talk to? And sometimes these hard to fills, you have to spend time in that community because you want to try to get someone from there. So those are a little bit more difficult, but that's where I've had my best success actually. So, but it was the same thing at Nicholls State. You find that player that nobody else really wanted, but you found him because you just kept beating the bushes.
There's something special in everybody. You just got to find it.
Exactly.
Now,
absolutely.
after you left Nicholls, you moved on to LSU. You're from Lafayette, yet you're making your home now in Thibodaux. What brought you back?
Well, my wife, Paula, spent most of her adult life here in Thibodaux. We have a beautiful mother-in-law who's 87 years old now, and so we wanted to spend time with her. Paula did, and certainly we wanted to be here. But I really feel that I consider Thibodaux my home now, even though I spent a lot of years in Lafayette. My daughters live in Lafayette. My 2 brothers live there. My mother passed away a couple years ago, but Thibodaux is my home.
It's good to have you here. You stay so involved with the program, and to see you probably, every couple weeks at a game. What keeps you involved now with Nicholls Athletics?
Well, actually, Mike, first couple of years, I kind of removed myself from the coaching world because I knew I still had that desire to coach, but I just really submersed myself into my current job, and kind of backed away from it a little bit. Actually, didn't even watch it on TV much. And then, of course, I started gradually getting back into it. Now I do want to become more and more involved with the Nicholls program. We had about 15 or so guys that went to the North Carolina game. We had a wonderful time. So I plan on supporting the Colonels. My next door neighbor is our head football coach here. So I still have ties to the university and want to get more and more involved.
Well, there's not a week that goes by that I don't hear a Rickey Broussard story.
Well, that's not always good.
It's always entertaining, though.
Maybe so.
Partner, we really do appreciate your time. We look forward to seeing more of you around here. And the partnership that we've developed with State Farm is something we're proud of.
Mike, if I could give a shout out to my State Farm agents who are supporting this program as well as other events here at the university. They're a good group of agents in this area, and I'm just so happy that we've able to get back more involved with with State Farm and with the university.
We're proud to have you guys on board. Thanks so much. Rickey Broussard, former head coach of the Colonels. A reminder, the Colonels women's basketball team takes the court again this coming Friday at Stopher Gym, playing host to Suno. Tip-off is slated for 6:30 p.m. You can reserve your tickets for all remaining men's and women's home games by calling 985-448-4790 or by logging on to Ticketmaster.com. Southland Conference play opens up in just a week and a half. Hard to imagine. All the information you need to follow Colonel Sports is available 24/7 on our official website, www.gocolonels.com. That's GEAUX, gocolonels.com. You'll find news, stats, player and coach bios, ticket information. There's a link to our official merchandise website so you can do your holiday shopping just in case you're running a bit behind. That's gocolonels.com. Bookmark it and head there often. We're going to take a break for the holidays. We're off for a couple weeks. We'll be back on January the 14th with our next program. So have a fantastic holiday season, a happy and safe new year. You've been watching This Week in Nicholls Athletics, presented by State Farm Insurance.
Today's show has been brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Contact your local State Farm agent today and get to a better state with State Farm Insurance. This has been a presentation of the Colonel Sports Network.